Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at the Sun Microsystems Sun V120 thin clients. I'll show you how I got them set up, how you can log in on one and carry your session over to another, and it stores everything on a Sun Fire server. Let's get into it. These are a pair of Sun Microsystems Sun V120. Basically, these are thin clients, so they don't have a hard drive. They require software running on a server somewhere. In this case, they require the Sunray server software, aptly named. These guys came out, I think, around 2006. Sun had a fascination with thin clients for many, many years. So this Sunray line of products started in, I think, 1999. There's like 10 or 10 plus variations of them. These are a lower power model that came out in 2006-ish. I tested it and they draw about 4.5 watts, basically exactly what Sun advertised. These would have set you back about $249 back then, so $380-ish in 2023 money. So really a pretty cost-effective option. A huge portion of enterprise IT budget is replacing machines every 2 or 3 years. And the promise here was that you'd always have this thing and you replace the server so that you could have more and more users. I think the software we're going to run on these needs like 40 megabytes of RAM per user. And so basically you throw servers at the problem and you don't have to replace the workstations all the time. There are two models of these that came out about the same time. What I have here is the Sunray 2. They also came out with a Sunray 2 FS, I think it's called, and basically just had dual display ports. So it's got a smart card reader. You'd use one of these things to log in. We're going to try to get that working today. And then USB for keyboard or mouse or whatever, and then audio in and out. Weighs about 2 pounds. The vast majority of it is in this base, so this thing is really chintzy. You can hear it kind of creaking. This thing is all the weight. On the back, very simple, normal serial port, a DVI connector for video, a 10100 megabit NIC, another USB for peripherals, and then a 12-volt barrel jack in. No power button. So you just plug it in and it's meant to always be on. Hence the focus on this one drawing less power. There had been complaints about previous generations just sitting there wasting power because they didn't have a power button. All right, I'll show you how these things behave right when you get them and you plug them in and there's no server running on your network for this thing to communicate with. So they don't have a power switch. I'm actually literally just going to plug it in right now. And we can see the lights come on. We should get a picture in a second. Ours here has the mark of the beast, but that can't be avoided, I think. These came out before Oracle bought Sun, but clearly it's been upgraded to some firmware after the Oracle acquisition. So now what it's doing is it's trying to go find a server. It's reporting its IP address, I think its MAC address. And this error, 27B, means it can't find a Sunray server to talk to. And it's just going to loop and try this. So remember, there's no hard drive on here. It has no OS. It doesn't understand the concept of users or anything without a server to talk to. So what it's doing is trying to find a server on the network. I've got it plugged into my network and just the video and the power, that's all that's plugged into it. And yeah, this error means it's trying to talk to a server and not finding one. So the next thing we got to do is set up a server. And for the server, I think our best bet is going to be this V120. I recently got Solaris 10 installed on that. It's got a hard drive in it. It's working, it's functional. If that doesn't work, for whatever reason, I think there's x86 versions of the Sunray server software, and we'll try switching to this Sunfire X2200. I have this 240, but I'm waiting on parts, and this is a disk array. More videos coming on those. But first things first, I got to get this in a different room. I can't listen to this thing run for another second. It took like a day and a half to format the hard drive, and it was running the whole time in here. And it's really loud. It's like 80 decibels. I'm going to take that and put it in my server room, and I'll show you how I'm going to connect with it. All right, we got the V120 on top of the rack here. Look how cute it is. It takes up like no space compared to a modern server. Anyway, I will take you around back here and show you how we're going to get this working. All right, so down here, I've got an MRV InReach secure console server. And what this thing does is it's hooked up to the network right there, and it exposes a bunch of serial ports. They're over RJ45, Cat5 cable, but they're actually serial ports. And so I'm actually going to use this thing for its intended purpose today, which is pretty exciting, which is remotely managing a server. So the Sunfires have LOM, lights off management. This is also a serial port, but it happens to be over RJ45. I've got this special RJ45 to serial cable, and then I'm running it through some transitions and a null modem over to this one, and ultimately into the first serial port of my secure console server. And so what this is going to do is I can boot this thing up, and then over telnet I can remote into the LOM port, which is pretty cool, even though it's over serial. But I can access it anywhere on my network, which is great. If that doesn't work, because of whatever funny business I've got going on here, I'll just wire and crimp a pass-through cable RJ45 from that pinout to this one. You can't just throw a normal Cat5 cable on there because they use different pinouts, of course. So I've also got the V120 ready to go on its normal NIC. So this is just, a Cat5 cable or a Cat6 cable going into one of my network switches to get this thing internet, and we're going to remotely manage it over the LOM serial. So I haven't plugged it in yet. I'm going to fire it up, and let's go see if we can talk to it. All right, total disaster. Plugging in this V120, flipped this GFCI outlet that is powering the whole rack. You can see Unify's not happy. It's all coming back online. My UPS here kept the servers running. Everything was fine there. All I had to do, you can see I was panicking. I thought it was this surge protector, but I just had to flip this. So I only have a 15 amp service coming right there directly from the sub panel. And what that tells me is that I'm maxed out. I can't plug anything more into this. So I need to bring a dedicated 20 amp outlet off of this. I'll do a video on that someday. I'm lucky to have this panel here. So yeah, I'll go get an extension cord. Here at Collab Enterprises, if you hire us to do your Sunray thin client install, rest assured, we're going to do it right. Anyway, it's running now. It's loud as hell. Let's go see if we can talk to it. All right, so if you're following along at home with your Sunfire MRV secure console setup, I didn't need the null modem. Started working the moment I took that off. Probably built into the Cisco cable I was using, now that I think about it. Anyway, as a refresher, if you didn't see the other videos, this is the interface to that MRV secure console, and you can see I can configure each of those 8 serial ports how I like. So I've got it set up with the speed and flow control and parity bits and all that the LOM expects. So now the cool thing is we can bring up a terminal and I can telnet into each of those ports. So this address here ending in 53 is the IP address of that MRV console. It exposes 8 ports I can telnet into. 2100 is the first one, 2200 is the second one, and so on. We plugged the V120 into the first port, and so we can telnet here, press enter, and here is the V120 asking us to log in just as if we had connected this computer here to that port over serial, which is awesome. So now that server can be in another room. For me, it's way less noise to deal with. In a real world setting, it would be someone administering a bunch of servers remotely. So we can log in here, and we're logged into the V120. It's running Solaris 10, I think that is, from 2005, so about the time frame we need. So now let's go find some software. So Oracle discontinued the Sunray line of products and the server software in 2013, as they proudly proclaim on their website. And in fact, when that happened, you can see the ex-CEO of Sun tweeted how disappointed he was. That Sun was really fascinated with these thin client solutions. But Oracle does still have downloads available for the Sunray software. They try to push you towards my Oracle support for the latest versions, in this case 5.4.5 as of this video in June of 2023. But you need a enterprise level support account. And what you really want to do is go over to something called the Oracle Software Delivery Cloud. So here you just need to log in with an account you make, and you can actually go find some of the old Sun software. So in my case, I downloaded the Sunray Software 5.4 for Spark 64-bit. That's what I need for that V120. So now I'm going to unzip this stuff and try to get it on that machine. All right, I've been consulting the literature, and basically I copied a version of the Sunray server software. I mounted an NFS share to my TrueNAS, copied it over here, so I've got it sitting here. And theoretically, we should be able to set up the server by running ut setup and passing D for defaults, I think. Here it goes. I don't know if this server is compatible. I don't know if my version of Solaris here is good enough for this version of the SRS software, so we'll see. It's going to take a while over serial, apparently. Of course I accept. It's from 2011. The version of Solaris I have is from 2005, I think. Ooh. Okay. I need a newer version of Java. I'll be back. That's fine. All right, so for posterity or whatever, to install a different version of the JDK on these older Solaris machines, you go to Oracle's website and they'll have all the archived versions. I have a Spark machine here. There's 2 bash files you download. One is just has Spark in the name. That's a bigger one. You download that, and then you download a 64-bit version, and you run them in that order. You run this one, and then you run the second one, and presumably add 64-bit files that are required because this is a 64-bit Spark machine. And yeah, it takes forever. But as you can see, we have 1.6 JDK here, Java 6, I think. Let's see if the Sunray software likes that. Sunray server software not successfully installed. Sunray core. Okay. Error in module M09 Sunray core event install. Let's go look at this log. Okay, I think my zip of the Sunray software is corrupt. Or I corrupted it. So it's complaining about some of these files that it needs. I think I unzipped this with Windows Explorer and then copied it over to the server, and I remember getting errors about some of these files. So I'm going to try it again with 7-zip, and we'll start again. All right. 2 hours later, some combination of switching to a different Sunray software version, 5.2 in my case, and letting it actually unzip on the Solaris box. So you download a zip from Oracle of the software, and I had been unzipping it, putting it on my NAS in Windows, then transferring the folder over to the machine, and it didn't like that. It was corrupting the install file somehow. So I actually unzipped it on the machine this time, and we're here. It is running the Sunray software. So I'm going to go do a little reading in the manual to see what we can do here, and see if we can't get those Sunray 2s talking to this thing. All right, this thing's back on, and it's still just going through its loop, reporting its IP address, reporting its MAC address, but I think that's okay, and we have some work to do on the server so that we can start using this. All right, so back over here, the server software install gave us a ton of different CLI tools we can use. And so if we actually do ut query, and then the address, I'm reading it, the IP address of that machine I was just showing you, the server can find it. So it knows it's what it thinks is a Sunray P8. It knows firmware version. It's from 2011. So yeah, I think what we need to do is configure that thing as a card reader, and then we'll be able to set up some users. Okay, the key was actually just adding a DHCP option 49 to my router that this thing actually is configured to look at, and it goes and looks at the server I pointed at, and now it's behaving differently. It's just boot looping. So we get this saying it's trying to talk to the server, 22B, it's trying to establish connection, and then it just loops. So it's not failing to find the server, but it doesn't like something. I'll see if there's logs on the server. Check it out. This is the log on the server, the Sunray server software. And you can see 192.168.1.29 is trying to connect, and I believe the server is rejecting it. So as it boot loops, it's just logging these connection errors. So we're getting close. Now I need to figure out how to allow this unit to authenticate with this server. We are getting somewhere. I ran a command on the server to turn on networking, I think, And it booted to a login screen, so I haven't added any users. Let's see if I can log in with root. that didn't look promising. No, it doesn't like that. Oh, it's just asking for my password. Maybe it does like it. I think we're in. Oh, it is slow. Oh, fair enough. It says not on a system console. Root login rejected. Okay, I'm going to try to figure out how to make a user. All right, made a non-root user on the V120. Let's see what we get. That's wild that it has to do this whole UI cycle just to switch to the password prompt. Let's see. Promising. Oh yeah. Obviously we want the Java desktop system. Let's go. So this user has literally never logged into this machine before. I think it's working, so logically it just uses the users that are on the V120. Look at this, Adobe Flash enabled. Oh, it's slow. Oh yeah. We are in. Wow. It's so slow. This might have been one of the reasons these things weren't very successful. Let's hook up the other one, and presumably it should save our session. All right. Welcome to my office. We've got two workstations here, two Sunrays. I'm logged in on this one. What we're going to do is log out. And notice we have the file browser to this computer open. We'll say save the current setup. Okay. Man, it is slow. I'm thinking that's the V120's fault. Now I'm really curious about running this on a faster Sunfire. But don't want to get ahead of myself here. Okay, now on this one, let's log in. Does its little refresh to get to the password prompt. Okay. Man, it is just so slow. It's working though. Look at that. Come on. You can do it. And there it is. Check it out. That's the same this computer file browser we had open. So the session obviously was saved on the server. These guys don't have any storage of their own aside from the firmware to just load these login prompts. And we successfully transferred a session from that thin client to that one. So next, I really want to see if we can get these cards working. All right, so a server saving a session isn't very interesting. What's more interesting about these is if we can get these smart cards working. So we have that collab user and a password we can log in. What we need to do is associate one of these cards, which are all unique, with that user. And so really quickly, we're back on the V120 here, and the Sunray server came with a bunch of utilities. They all start with UT. So UT kiosk, UT user. What's that stand for? I can't figure it out. Nothing in the documentation says anything about UT. Anyway, we can say UT desktop list, and now the server knows it has two Sunfires. These are the unique identifiers for each one, MAC addresses, I guess. And what we can do is use UT reader. Let's look at the help here. And you need to actually get the unique identifier from these cards. And in order to do that, you obviously need to read the chip on them. And you can configure a Sunfire on your network to be just a dedicated reader with this command. So let's try it out. I can say UT reader add. I'm going to try the one here. It sounds like I need to do this. UT start. I think this is just restarting some services. You can't see, but it disconnected them. They're restarting. I don't know what the error means. So I think we're okay. Okay, I've had this problem before. So the services get all confused and I don't think they shut down properly. So let's see if I can UT stop. Okay, it's not complaining anymore. Let's do a UT start again. They're like boot looping over there. They don't like it. Cold start is required, assuming C. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart. All right, we're back. Let's go put a smart card in the Sunray we configured as a reader. And I think we use UT user read and then that MAC address. All right, might have put it upside down. All right, I don't know why I thought it was going to be easy. So the UT card command lets you know which smart cards are currently configured. None of them are. So it actually probes a list when you insert a smart card to figure out what to do with it. And let's take a look at UT card unconfigured. I don't know anything about which one would work. So, I mean, I just bought these cards on Amazon. They match the ISO spec that these things want, but I guess I'll enable unknown card. Okay, let's try it again. I don't think it's going to happen, folks. So I spent a couple hours messing around with settings, adding all the supported card configurations that the Sunray server supports. Nothing. And I think the main problem is, though I did buy cards that meet the same ISO spec that these claim to use, I'm pretty sure these things just don't recognize them at all. Like, I would expect this light to light up when you put it in, and nothing. I even tried, contact cleaner, getting it in there, and making sure that it was making good contact. The pattern looks correct, so I can see where the reader is touching it. And so it looks like the right form factor, it looks like the right chip, but yeah, nothing. I've configured each of them as readers, can't get them to do anything. The Sunray server thinks nothing's going on. So I'm still motivated though. These are ridiculously slow, as you can see. So let's log into one here. Man, it is painful. So obviously the V120 is not the right choice for hosting this server. That was actually faster than normal. So I'm kind of motivated to get this running on the x86 Sun Fire X2200. And I think we'll have a better, faster server. It's got way more RAM, it's way more capable. And yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to solve this problem in another video, because I'm either going to have to try some more cards on eBay or get them on AliExpress and ship them from China, and that's going to take a few weeks. But at any rate, it's still impressive. We have both of these running and working. I don't think there's anything physically wrong with them. I think it's just the cards I got. And we can transfer sessions between them. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited with the progress here. It took me the better part of a Saturday to even get this far. So yeah, we'll have some more videos coming on this stuff. But I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. Definitely more content like this coming. And I'll see you in the next one.